You're watching Mirror 7 News. Stay informed, stay ahead for more news.
Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy has just been handed a major and historic sentence: 5 years in prison, in connection with the alleged Libyan financing of his 2007 presidential campaign. This ruling, delivered by the Paris Criminal Court, marks the first time in modern French history that a former head of state is set to actually face incarceration. The case has been closely watched for years. Sarkozy, who has always denied the accusations, was found guilty of association de malfaiteurs, essentially being part of a conspiracy that allowed funds of Libyan origin to flow into his campaign. 7 other figures from his political circle were also convicted, including former ministers Claude Guéant and Brice Hortefeux. For many, this verdict is being described as both historic and unprecedented. Now, what happens next is crucial. Sarkozy is due to appear before the National Financial Prosecutor's Office on October 13th to learn the exact date of his incarceration. Because of his age, he's over 70. He may qualify for alternatives like serving the sentence under house arrest with an electronic bracelet. Still, the court has ordered prison time, and unless appeals drastically change the outcome, some form of confinement is almost inevitable. Reactions have been pouring in across the political spectrum. Sarkozy himself responded defiantly, saying that if he must sleep in prison, he will do so with his head held high. He maintains his innocence, and has already announced that he will appeal the ruling. That appeal process keeps the case open, but importantly, the Financial Prosecutor's Office also filed its own appeal, which means the entire trial could be reopened at a higher court, with the possibility of even heavier sentencing. On the right, political allies expressed anger and solidarity. Some argued that the judgment was overly severe, while figures like Bruno Retailleau offered support and confidence that Sarkozy would prevail on appeal. Others went so far as to call for a presidential pardon. Meanwhile, Marine Le Pen criticized what she described as a politically motivated justice system, claiming magistrates were targeting high-profile politicians. On the left, however, the tone was very different. Politicians mocked Sarkozy's fate, some pointing out the irony of his own past words about law and order now coming back against him. Environmentalists even used the moment to push for stricter laws against hidden campaign financing. For observers of French democracy, this moment carries deep significance. Supporters of anti-corruption groups hailed the decision as a victory for transparency and the rule of law. Critics, however, warned of a justice system seen as politicized, raising questions about trust in institutions. One thing is certain: this judgment is a turning point. Nicolas Sarkozy, once one of the most powerful figures in Europe, now finds himself battling for his political and personal legacy in courtrooms rather than in the halls of power. His fight is far from over, but his name will now forever be tied to one of the most dramatic trials in French political history. Stay subscribed for more videos.